Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Gus Up? He's on his way. He's the favourite son of his parents. Please give it up for your final act of the evening, Greg Kimball! Hello. Thanks very much to the world's worst warm-up act, Tim Duck. Yeah, legend. Thanks a lot for coming, guys. Belconnen Community Theatre. How good's this? Yeah? My mum brought me to this theatre for the first ever theatre experience that I had when I was about 5 years old. And I think we saw The Wizard of Oz or something. And there was a point where the Wicked Witch, she looked into the crowd and she kind of locked eyes with me. And I just looked back and I just went... Because I just really, really hate community theatre. No, but it's great to be back in Belconnen. Northside represent. Northside? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Northside, whatever. Yeah, represent, whatever. If you don't like it, your mum works at McDonald's. It's a thing that we do up here. Probably should stop. Yeah. I've had a lot of good times in Belconnen. I grew up around here. I'm actually from Charnwood. I went to primary school there. I went to high school there. My first job, standard break and enter. I was actually the Charnwood High School all-round student award winner. Yeah, how about that? Same year they closed the school, which is interesting. And now they turned it into a Christian outreach centre. Do you guys know there's a Christian outreach centre? Can you imagine the Christians down at Charnwood shops? Have you found God? No, but you're about to. There was a fair few people from the north side here. Make some noise if you've had a beer at the Lighthouse. Yeah? All right, keep the noise going if you've ever had a beer when it was sales. Yeah. Oh, here we go. That's what I'm talking about. Sales is a rough pub. And I remember getting my first big laugh when I was at sales. Well, it wasn't at sales. I was actually riding my bike past sales. And there was a massive fight out the front. And I was also very drunk when I was riding my bike. And I just ate shit into the curb as I was rubbernecking at this fight, right? And there's 20 blokes all just stopped and turned and laughed and then just settled their differences. It's this beautiful moment of humanity, you know. And they looked at me, you know, bleeding in the gutter and just bashed me instead. So that was nice. But no, I got busted underage drinking in sales when I was 15. Mum remembers this one, I'm pretty sure. I remember, I remember when I got in there, I was in there with my friend Lindsay, and I got into sales with a 5'1" Iranian guy's ID, right? He was 21. I had my Charnwood High School Year 10 jumper on in 1995. So sales, security staff, not known for their math skills, clearly, nor their observational skills, because the Iranian guy had a thick mustache. You know, so I got in there, I'm in sales, I'm sitting with Lindsay having a beer, and this woman comes over to me and she starts walking over and I'm thinking, all right, here we go. Yeah, it's go time. That's not true. I was going, ah! It's a woman. And she comes over and she like flips out her ID and she goes, have you got ID, mate? And I, in my head, I was going, oh, wow, that's cool. It's like they do it in the movies and shit. That's not true. I was actually going, I'm in so much trouble. And Lindsay took that opportunity to kind of stand up and casually saunter away. Because he was my age, right? But he was a bit more confident, a bit more savvy with his underage drinking because he'd done it a lot more, you know. See, I mean, people don't talk about the benefits of abusive alcoholic parents, but, you know, they're really there, you know. You guys not sure about that one? That's okay. So Lindsay starts to kind of saunter off towards the bar, and the lady asks me again for ID. And I just jumped up and ran after Lindsay and went, Lindsay, they want our ID. What are we going to do? So that's when I got dragged out of sales by my pants. by a female police officer. So that got a big laugh as well. And got chucked in the back of the paddy wagon. There's a 5'1" Iranian guy out there. I said, "What are you in for, mate?" And he goes, "Oh, I tried to get in with a Charnwood High School library card." And the bloke said, "Mate, I'm not stupid, as if Charnwood High has a library." So after this, we're all going to go to Checkers Chips and Gravy. Who's with me? Yeah. Who knows what Checkers Chips and Gravy is? Yeah. Yes. If you don't know, it was a dirty, out that way. It was a dirty, like, caravan roadside food vendor that was just on the walkway on the overpass here through the 90s, right? And it was the most magical, beautiful cesspit of bacteria that you could imagine. And it was kind of the rite of passage for when you were on a night out in Belconnen. Your last stop was Checkers Chips and Gravy. And look, they were there for years. About 15 years. You got to admire that commitment to lack of quality. Like, they were just horrible. And I mean, it was like the last stop before going home. So it's like a poisoned fox, like, going into its den to die. That's what it was like, getting chips and gravy from Checkers. And I remember waking up. I went out on a Thursday night. I had a massive night, and I remember getting chips and gravy. And I got up the next day to go to my computing class at uni, TAFE, whatever. And I woke up feeling really good. And then I sort of skipped off to my computing class, and I came back that night. And Mum goes, "Did you have a big night last night, mate?" And I said, Yeah, but I had some Checkers Chips and Gravy on the way home, and I woke up feeling really good. And she goes, "Oh, do you reckon that explains the big brown mess you left in the bathtub?" And I said, "Did I forget to eat that? Shit." Anyway, for those of you who don't know, the show is called Gus Up. You probably know that, but you probably don't know what a Gus Up is. Now, I'm going to tell you what that is pretty soon, but and again, you know, you've probably seen the cameras around, like Tim Duck was talking about, the recordings happening. Now, I've been doing stand-up for probably nearly 10 years now, I'd say, and I wanted to record something, to sort of have something to show for what I've done. Because when I started, I do remember my dad, who's no longer with us, he said, "Mate, look, it's so good that you do stand-up. It's so good. You're great. I'm really, really happy that you do stand-up. It's great to have a hobby." In the most supportive way, my dear dad told me to keep my day job. You know, that's what he did. And so, you know, I am still keeping my day job, but technically I don't have to listen to him anymore. So I'm actually going to, you know, I want to give this thing a bit of a crack, right? And so I'm recording this thing, and so a Gus Up, okay? Now, my nickname is Gus, as you may or may not be aware. I was nicknamed Gus after our family cat. Now, I met my older brother's friends. They came over after work and they said, "What's your brother's name?" And Chris goes, "Greg." And they went, Greg? What kind of name's Greg?" And they've got a point, because it's a shit name. Okay, like, Mum, you dropped the ball on that one. Seriously, like, I mean, Greg. What kind of a name is Greg? Greg is your stepdad who refuses to drive you anywhere. You know, like, I would come if Greg would take me. You know, like, Greg's the kind of guy who's got a stapler at work that's a really good stapler and he won't lend it to anyone. And then you take it from him and you just don't give it back. Greg's the guy who asks for a hint on every crossword answer. There's a few giggles because I actually do that. So they wanted to rename me. They said, "No, you're not Greg, you're Gus." So the cat walked in and they went, "You're Gus," right? Which is great. Because every time someone would call and say, "Oh, hi, can I speak to Gus, please?" Mum would say, "Sorry, Gus can't come to the phone right now. He's sitting on the TV licking his balls," right? Which is a very good line, Mum. I'll give you that. And so a Gus Up, right? A Gus Up is a situation that has taken place many times whereby I find myself in a situation or I do something which is kind of absent-minded or an accident or just plain dumb, and it has a direct financial or benefit for me, and I've done this with monotonous regularity. And I'll tell you the original Gus Up that happened, right, was I got my first car. My first car, I called him Reggie the Red Gemini, which is a weird name for a yellow Volkswagen Beetle. But anyway, so I got Reggie the Red Gemini, and I bought it for $1,000, and I was so proud. And Dad said, right, you've got to go and get it insured, okay? You've got to get it insured. So he said, right, here's a blank cheque, right? Now, for the younger people in the audience, if you're not sure what a blank cheque is, I'm not talking like a confused Eastern European man. Just, I know not. It's kind of paper money, right? So it's a blank cheque. It's like he gave me that, and I went down to NRMA. Now, Dad had told me, make sure you get third-party insurance. Get third-party insurance. Tell them that's what you want. Write it on there, and you're good to go. I said, sweet, Dad, I got this. Went down to NRMA, right? I slapped the blank cheque on the counter, and I said, I need some insurance for Reggie the Red Gemini. And the bloke goes, is that the V-dub? I said, yeah. He said, weird name. I said, shut up. Michael, because that was his name. Good, okay. Look, not all of them are going to land. We'll just cut those out later. It's okay. So Michael said, right, what kind of insurance do you want? What kind of insurance do you want? And I was like, I need insurance, please. And he said, well, you know, there's a couple of different kinds of insurance. And I said, well, what are they again? And he goes, well, there's comprehensive, and that's awesome. Like, everyone gets it. It's like, it's so cool. Everyone's like into it. It's like Boost Juice. Or there's third party, but you don't want that. And I was like, fuck, give me the Boost Juice. That sounds awesome. So I got comprehensive insurance for my $1,000 car for about $10,000. Not only did that happen, but I also was given... all comprehensive car insurance holders were then gifted 1,000 shares of NRMAs to the value of about $5 each. So I made $5,000 by buying a $1,000 car, right? And I told Dad about it, and I said, do you want these shares? And he said, mate, you've earned that. And I told my best friend Ben about it, and he goes, you've gussed that up. You've just gussed that up. So that's a Gus Up, right? And I need to tell you a little bit more about Ben. Ben is my best friend, okay? He's here now. Amazingly, he was on time. Ben, just put your hand up. You cannot miss him. If you're going to get a shot of him, wide-angle lens. He's a big boy, right? He's a former rugby player. He's still playing rugby, but he's a unit of a man. My dad used to say, look, if you're going out drinking with Ben, just stay away from him a little bit, okay? If he gets a few in him, because he just gets a little bit punchy. No. He's my best friend, right? And everyone's got their best friend who you've been friends with for so long that you just love them. You really just love them, and you don't want to get rid of them, even if you could. Now, I'll tell you a story about Ben because he's the kind of guy, amazingly, he's an incredible guy. Amazingly, in 39 years, never, ever been wrong. Ever. It's fucking crazy. I don't know how he's managed it. Never, ever been wrong or in the wrong. I don't understand how he's managed to achieve it, but it's incredible. And he'll make me do things that I don't want to do based on the fact that he's the defender of the indefensible, right? The best example I can give you is, we went to Wet n Wild Water Park in the Gold Coast. Make some noise, you've been to Wet n Wild? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? So there's a slide at Wet n Wild that's a big inner tube slide, it's a big half pipe thing like that, and you go on a big rubber tyre inner tube. It's a 2-person ride, okay? Ben says, let's go on this one. I said, okay. As we were walking up, there's a recording that plays over and over and over on a loop. That recording said, please be aware, this ride has a maximum weight limit of 180 kilos. He's 140. I'm 100-ish. I know I went to Charmwood High School, but I know that is too much weight for that ride. Probably about 50 times we heard that announcement, right? I said, mate, I don't know about this. I don't know if we should go on this ride together. He said, mate, just stop being a pussy. It's a guideline. It's a guideline. It's a guideline. Just, whatever. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. It's a guideline. All right. So the little person gets in front, okay? We get on this thing, right? And we take off. We've been shot out of a cannon. We're just like flying down this thing. Like I'm getting sucked back into his flab, right? It looked like a large bearded man giving birth to another large bearded man. Like, we're overtaking people on the way down. We're kind of, watch out, you'll be killed. You know. And when we get to the bottom, there's like a deep catch pool. It's sort of like the end of the stage here. And then there's a more shallow pool after that. So he meant to just sort of stop. We just shot over that fucker, right? I hit the end. I go flying off. I do a flip, land on my feet because I'm a ninja, whatever. And the lifeguard looks over and goes, that was pretty sick. But you guys are too big for that ride. And Ben goes, well, it's the first I've heard of it. So that's what happened. That's the kind of stuff. Like, I went and visited Ben when his first baby was born. And as you can imagine, not a small baby. Now, the mother had been in labour for about 36 hours, right? She's just given birth to a child the size of a two-seater couch, right? First thing Ben says is, far out, 36 hours. Geez, my legs are tired. Fucking hell. Fucking hell, I've been standing on my legs. And she's sitting behind. If she hadn't been looking like she'd been riding a zebra, she would have like jumped up and fucking strangled him with her legs. But no. But still, well, they are. Well, they are tired, aren't they? Like they are. Well, not the point, Ben. Anyway, so Ben came up with the term Gus Up, and look, you know, that stuff. I do that stuff all the time. It's ridiculous. Like I was on a flight from Darwin to Canberra, and you know, I've got this thing when I'm on flights. If I can watch 2 movies, bang, half the flight done. I do it in movies, right? So I just sort of knock out movies while I'm on the flight. And I just wanted to watch a movie, and it just kept restarting over and over again. It was starting to really piss me off because I really wanted to watch Shrek 2 again. And so it just happened over and over again. And finally, I just said to the lady, look, can you help me with this? So I just, you know, it's really frustrating. She's tried, and she said, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm sorry. And so I was like, end of the flight, she gives me this beautiful bottle of red wine. She said, I'm really sorry for what happened on the flight, and I hope this makes up for it. I hope you have a better experience next time. And I said, thank you. It was very, very frustrating. And then as I stood up, I realised that I was pressing my elbow into the controls the entire time. But I kept that because I was a Gus Up, you know. Now, I was talking before about Ben, and he's come to a couple of shows of mine before, and we've chosen this venue specifically because potentially the last time we came, I said to Ben, I was emceeing a show, and I said, now mate, come and sit in the front. Thanks for coming. It's great that you came. Sit in the front row. Yeah, just have a great time. And I said, just do me one favour. Just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. And he looked at me, and he just went, how am I meant to not say something now? Like, how am I meant to... It's like he's putting it back on me, like it's my fault that he has to be a fuckwit, right? Like, he's just going, how can I not now that you've told me not to do that, right? And so I just said, look, please, I'm asking you this one thing, please don't, right? And so the show's about to start, and, you know, Tim Duck does his warm-up act, and I walk out on stage, and all I can see in the glare of the lights is this hulking figure walking down, and he goes, "Hi, Greg," and I was like, "Fucking hell, fucking told you to say that." And automatically he got under my skin. He made me really mad, and he's sitting right in front of me in the Civic pub there, right there, and he interrupted me like 3 more times, and I just said, "I told you not to say it," and I smacked him with the mic stand, and I may have got Maria as well, his lovely fiancée. And he said, "You got Maria." And I said, She's fucking collateral damage, okay? Sorry about that. Anyway, so Ben's here. He's on his best behaviour. He's the man who created Gus Up, and we'll a few more references to that in the show. But it's not a show that's got like a whole narrative thing and a story and all that kind of stuff. You might have seen the poster. It looks like the movie Up. It's not actually anything to do with the movie Up, okay? It's more, I just thought, Gus Up, oh yeah, I could do that. So probably the only thing that's vaguely kind of similar to the movie Up is that if you got that fat little kid and the old man and just levelled them out, you've got me. That's pretty much it. I don't have a cool gamer name. I don't know if anyone does, but I know I don't, okay? My old housemate, he gave himself a gamer name that was C*NT Juggler 69. Think about that for a second. Cunt Juggler 69, because he probably didn't realise that his gamer name was going to last him his whole life, right? Can you imagine in 60 years' time when our computer robot overlords are putting us to work in the work camps and they go through the role and they go, Cunt Juggler 69? He'll be very embarrassed, won't he? And then he'll be like, Greg, and I'll be like, damn it! And if you looked at my gamer profile, you would see that I'm not a gamer. I'm not a very good gamer at all. It's not my thing. But if you had seen me at my peak, when I was grounded for shoplifting for 2 weeks, and I used that time exclusively to master the IBM Pentium 93 game, The Adventures of Captain Comic, then I would get the credit that I deserve, goddammit. If you put me in front of an IBM PC computer, I'll Bill Gates the shit out of that game, I tell you. If Captain Comic was an e-sport, I would be the impossible lover between LeBron James and Roger Federer. That's what I'm talking about, right? And then I'll get the credit I deserve. Now, I mentioned that I got busted shoplifting. This is another Belconnen story. I got busted shoplifting in about 1993. There's a Granny May's gift shop in Belconnen Mall. A few people remember it. For those who really like details, I think there's a KFC now. You get it, right? So I was in Granny May's, and look, the thing is, I wasn't stealing for some noble reason or out of necessity. I'd already bought like $50 worth of shit, right? I just thought, I wondered if I could do it, right? Because I was hanging around with a guy called Michael, who was a great mate of mine, and he was one of those sort of artful dodger type guys. Like, he could just steal anything and he just wouldn't raise a sweat, wouldn't bat an eyelid, right? And I thought that was really cool. I wanted to be like that. A sociopath, right? So I was at the shop and I'd already bought my stuff, and then I walked back into the shop as though I wasn't going to steal anything. Like, I'm walking back in and go, and I'm sort of walking around and I see this key ring that's got a condom enclosed in it, and I put that in my bag for my brother, right? Why I thought that's a appropriate present for my brother, I don't know. You know, I got this for you for probably anal. And so I started to walk out of the shop like, pretending that I hadn't stolen anything. Like, I'm just like, I'm just doing these ones. And the bloke at the front of the shop sort of stops me, but I had a plan for this, right? And I said, he started looking in my bag, and he saw the stuff that I'd already bought, and I said, oh, I've already paid for those things. And he took those things out and said, what about this thing? And I said, nah, but I'm about to. But it was too late. I was pinched. I was done. And they took me to this room out the back of the mall where I assume kids just disappear from, right? There's this massive, like, ex-Green Beret SAS Vietnam veteran. He was like 8 foot tall. He was the scariest dude I've ever seen in my life, right? This is my 13-year-old memory, so it was probably more like the Blue Wiggle, okay? But he was the scariest bastard I've ever seen in my life. And I started crying because, of course, I did. Criminal's a moat, okay? Now, he made me ring my mum and dad, and so I rang home, and my brother answered, and I said, I got you an anal key ring, and he goes, what? And I said, I don't know. And he said Mum and Dad weren't there. They were at Nana's house with the extended family. Yeah, so that was a good phone call. So I rang Nana's house and Nana answered and she goes, "Hello, Gregory," because she's so happy to hear from me. "Hello, Gregory, what have you been doing, darling?" And I said, "Oh, just some shopping and stuff." And she said, "Oh, that's nice. Did you get anything good?" And I said, "Well, I got a key ring for Sean because anal, and now this guy's about to gut me like a pig with a Bowie knife or put me in jail. Can you put Dad on, please?" Because you never ask for Mum. Okay, that's the rule. Mum will fucking kill you. No. And so I was the shame of the family. Everyone knew about it, and I was grounded. And I was like, the Kimball name was Mud, because in our family we don't get caught. My brother stole all the time. He stole out of the church collection plate. Mum, do you know about that? We did, okay? He stole a canoe. He stole a canoe with his Datsun Sunny, right? Put it on top, tied it, no roof racks, just tied it around the open windows and drove it up the Clyde Mountain. The Sunny, not the canoe. Now, he gets home and Mum and Dad go, "Oh, that's a nice canoe. Where'd you get that?" "Down the coast." No further questions. Not like, "How much did you pay for it?" "Nothing, stole it." Dad would have been like, "That's my boy." I would have loved a fucking canoe. Instead, I spent my summer playing fucking Captain Comic, you know. My friend Al, a few people here who know Al, we did work experience when we were year 10. Make some noise if you remember what you did for work experience. Yeah? We did work experience, and Al was he was a vet for a week. Now Al's dream was to be a vet. Okay. Now there's nothing else he wanted to do, which is weird because his family described him as the natural-born enemy of all animals. Now I don't know why he wanted to be a vet, but he did. Okay. And on his first day, he rocks up, and there's this little kitten. And the little kitten's, it's had an operation, it's under sedation, and it's sitting there, and his only job was to watch this little kitten and wait for it to come out of anesthesia. Sorry. No. I'm out of love, let me be. No, anesthesia. Okay. So he was sitting there, the vet goes off and does some paperwork, and he's watching this thing, and it's sort of, it's intubated, and then it starts to cough and wake up. And all he had to do was go and get the vet. All he had to do was go and say, "Hey, the cat's waking up, and you need to do something." But he couldn't find him. He couldn't find the vet anywhere. And he thought, this is my moment. This is my time to shine. And so he said, "I'm going to fuck this puppy," which is a weird thing to say, isn't it? And so, but what he did was, he decided to take it into his own hands. Now, I can feel the tension in the room, because there might be a few cat lovers. I just want you to know this has a happy ending. It's fine. Just relax. It's cool. Cat's fucking dead, okay? Obviously, he had no business doing what he was doing. Cat's dead. The happy ending is he didn't become a vet. He's a nurse up at Canberra Hospital. Now, it's only fair that Al, having done his work experience, that I tell you my work experience story as well. I think it's only fair. I did work experience at a physio. Now, when I got to the physio, the first thing they said to me was, they said, "Mate, we've got a spa out the back, so you could go out there, you could have a spa, you could sit back in your swimmers and just clean the spa for us while you're out there. That's your job. That's what you can do in the afternoon." I said, "Far out, this is awesome. This is the best." And so, they said, "Oh, mate, it's pretty quiet. Why don't you go out there and jump in the spa?" I said, "Okay." And I went out there and I hopped in. It was really nice. It was really warm. And I was 15 and I was warm and started to feel there's a lot of hormones going on when you're 15, and a few of you might have worked out where this is going, I decided to look. I jacked off. That's what happened. Okay. There's no point beating around the bush. That's what happened. And I'm not proud of it. I'm a little bit proud of it. And as I'm there doing what I was doing, and at that moment, at the critical moment that I won't describe, I opened my eyes and I looked directly into a CCTV camera. Right. There were screens in every single room of this complex, right? So everyone in that complex was just watching me just toss off some orphans, right? Just horrendous. Now, I sort of panicked, but I thought, all right, act natural. And so I just started cleaning the spa anyway, on the off chance that they might have just been watching at that point, and they were like, he's doing a great job. That's awesome. Good on you, mate. But no, as it happened. Look, I eventually had to get out of the spa, and I had to go and face the music. And I went out, and it was a wasteland. They had all just gone, we're out of here. Like, no one was wanting to deal with that shit, except for the poor, long-suffering receptionist, right, who's looking at me through these Coke bottle glasses. She's just sort of staring at me going, you dirty little prick. And I thought, I'm still in act natural mode, right? And so I said the first thing that popped into my head, which was, well, that felt nice. I have it on good authority that they drained that spa. They did not want that shit hanging around. I'm just going to have a little drink because I'm quite parched. I asked if I could get a large bottle of Windex. So probably the biggest Gus Up that I've made in my life would have to be my little boy Ralph. Everyone knows Ralph. If you follow me on social media, he's probably more followers than a Kardashian at this point. But now he's a Gus Up because, let's face it, he was a lucky shot, okay? He was unplanned, unintentional, and I'm not with his mother, and I respect her judgment, okay? Now, when she was pregnant, when his mum was pregnant, she has two kids that she prepared earlier, and they were like 2 and older than that. And so she said to them, when she was pregnant, she was like, how would you like it if mummy had a new baby? And the older one went, no! We're keeping that one! Which was cute. Now we were not together from the start, Ralph's mum and I, and so we did a lot of drop-offs and a lot of handovers and things like that. And so we often met in sort of public places to do that, just so we could kind of go about our lives. And I was pushing him through the Canberra Centre one summer evening, and this lady, she goes to me, oh, he's so beautiful. Can I take him home with me? And I clocked eyes with her and I just said, 20 grand. And then I went and met his mum and I delivered him, and then I walked past her with the empty trolley. Now, he's getting a bit lippy, Ralph. He's getting a little bit lippy. As he got old, he's very verbal. Anyone that knows him knows he's a very big talker. And he learns, he just learns all this stuff from somewhere. And I got cut off in traffic one day, and I was like, fuck off. From the back seat, fuck off. Fuck off. Just really like enunciating, fuck off. Fuck off. And I was great. I'm just looking forward to him bursting that little bubble of learning. Turned out that was Papa Kevin's funeral. We're here today to lay to rest Kevin Tracy Kimball. Fuck off. Thanks, Ralph. But it was funny. One time I was talking to Dad on the phone, and he was like, "Oh, you got, Auntie Kate's here. You should come around for dinner and bring Ralph." And I was like, "Oh, well, look, Ralph's with his mum, but I can come round." And he's like, "Just bring the kid, mate." Yeah. It was quite a realisation that I no longer mattered, I was literally just a vehicle for the toddler, you know. And Dad said that. He was like, mate, it's a weight off my chest. I'm really happy that I actually said that. And you know, it feels good. Who wants a cup of tea? And I'm like, this is bullshit. And Ralph's like, cup of tea. And I'm like, shut up. And he's like, fuck off. Recently, he's learned the word technically. And I said, all right, it's time to go to bed. And he said, well, Dad, technically it's my bed and I don't want to, so technically I don't have to. And I said, technically, go to fucking bed. And he goes, oh, come on. That's his thing. Oh, come on. And it's like I've, you know, I've brought up a baby John McEnroe. Come on. You can't be serious. That's now the other Gus Up that I have absolutely made is my beautiful partner Christina. As was made quite apparent to me at my work Christmas party when literally every person came up to me and was like, wow, your partner's really pretty. Your partner's beautiful. Wow, why is she with you? Like, what is she doing? They're starting to think there's something wrong with her. Like, wow. And like, I know I'm punching above my weight, okay? I know what I'm dealing with right here, okay? I know that I have a face that looks like whoever made it just could have tried harder, okay? Like, I get it, right? They were like, nah, fuck it, he doesn't need a chin. You know, let's just round it off in a jowly, punchable fashion. You know, that'll be fine. So I get that, all right? I get it. Now, I did want to tell you guys, before I met Christina, I was single for a while, and I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not great at the old talky to the ladies, and I'm not great at the pickup lines. I once said to a woman who had shown no interest in me up to this point, I said, you can do anything you want to me tonight. Like I was some kind of delectable sex biscuit. She said, I might throw up on you. Well, yeah. I went out on a date with this girl one night. We went to the movies, and she walked me home because safety first. And just as we were about to part ways, she was kind of hovering there, and we're talking, and the conversation was going on for a while, and she was giving me the body language where it was kind of like, you know, there's a lot of things said these days about consent, but there was the whole thing where she was kind of leaning into the whole situation, and I was frozen in the same spot, just having this conversation, but inside my head was a screaming match going on, right? A silent screaming match, just going, Greg, do something. Do something. You're fucking this up, Greg. Do something. She likes you. You're being a fucking... Just reach out. Just grab her hair. Don't grab her hair. Just do something. Just step forward. Don't kick her, though. Just touch her face. Don't touch her face. Just do something, Greg. And so that whole thing's going on inside my head, right? But all she sees on the outside is... So anyway, we started dating, Gus Up, and we dated for a while. And one day we were walking down a street in Braddon, and I saw just in front of me what looked to be a complete, unopened 4-bar Kit Kat. And I fucking love Kit Kats. Now, as I'm walking along, I gave a little nudge with my foot, and it was confirmed to me that it was indeed a full 4-bar Kit Kat, unopened. Like I said, I fucking love Kit Kats. Now I thought to myself, no, I'm gonna be decent about this. I'm not gonna pick this up off the ground. That's ridiculous. It's dirty. It's disgusting. And I kept walking. And as we walked past, she saw it, and she hit me, and she goes, "That's a full 4-bar Kit Kat." And she kept it and ate it. And so obviously I broke up with her because that's disgusting. Now, people who know me know that, look, I'm not good at life sometimes, I guess. I'm a self-harmer, but not in the way that's really awful. Like, it's sort of like I just do it because I'm just not very good at sort of the limbs and stuff, right? Like, for example, sometimes I'll just like poke myself in the eye with a pen. Like, I've done that like multiple times in a day. It's like, fucking hell. You should have this by now. I've got a pen license, all right? Now, I've done that. I've poked myself in the eye, in the same eye, right? With like my keys and then a pen at work. I wasn't even trying to get out of the meeting this time. And someone actually said to me, "Is it hard being you?" And they weren't saying that in a way that was meant to be like complimentary, like I'm talented and, you know, beautiful. And they were saying just because it looks like I make like a normal middle-class existence just look really fucking hard, like harder than it should be. And it is hard being me, I'm not going to lie. I'll give you an example. I went to a gig in the city. I drove a car and tried to park in the outdoor car park. Now there's one car park left, right? And there's like this guy just parked a crossways and there's like a tiny little space left. And I'm like, this is some bullshit. I got really mad, but I said, right, I'm just going to go for broke because you know your life is full of excitement when going for broke is a mildly tricky car park, all right? So I backed it in there and I got the bastard in and I was like, yes, come on. And I thought, but I'm angry about this. I'm pissed off. I'm not happy about what's happened. And so I decided to do the most Canberra thing that I could do in this situation. I decided to write a note. Right? Now, I wrote this note on my dashboard. I sat there for a good 15 minutes, all right, just trying to think of something really, really horrible to say to this guy. And it was another 10 minutes went past, and I realised that this is the most pressure I've ever felt as a comedian in my life. Because if I write a shit note, right, if I write a shit note, and this guy comes back to his car, takes a photo of it, puts it on Reddit or something, that goes viral, someone recognises my car and goes, that's Gus's car. My comedy career would be ruined. Okay, you're not getting on board with that. It doesn't matter. Now, this is what's going in my head though. I was trying to think. So what I ended up writing was, keep working on your parallel parking, mate. You'll get there. Thank you, sir. One guy with a sympathy laugh. Because that is a shit note. You're right. Okay? It was a terrible note. And not only that, but I'd spelt parallel with two R's, which is incorrect, so I had to start again. And then I spelt parallel with LL at the end, which is also incorrect, so I had to start again. And then I realised that he'd see all the imprints from all the parallel notes that I've been writing. So I went to the middle of the book and I started again. And then I've been there so long that I realised, what if this guy comes back? He's probably eating his dinner by now. What if he's got a family? What if he's got tough-looking sons? Or worse yet, what if he's got daughters? These post-Me Too girls, they don't fuck around. You know what I'm saying? So I'm starting to get intimidated by the daughters of a make-believe person I've never met before who may have parked his car. Like, this is what's going on, right? Now, by this time, I've missed my spot at the open mic. My paid parking is finished. I'm not even funny enough to write a fucking note, right? So I walked away. I said, fuck this. I'm done. I came back half an hour, and there's a note on my windscreen that just said, nice park, fuckhead. I'm just going to see how long I've done. Any questions to this point? No? You're very well behaved. This is unusual. All right, I'm going to tell two more stories, and then we're done. And then we can go. We're going to go for a drink after this. Who wants to come? Yeah? Go over to the Labour Club because I'm classy. Now, I went travelling in Spain. I went to Barcelona, and a really, really funny thing happened to me when I was in Barcelona. I got mugged by a Spanish dwarf. It's a true story. everything I've said tonight is true-ish. This guy, I was with my Finnish mate Jonne, and me and Jonne are walking along, and these two dudes come up to us, and one's got a leather jacket, and another's a little Spanish dwarf. And I should probably stop calling him a Spanish dwarf because he had a thick accent. It was obviously Spanish, right? Thank you. Never mind. Okay. Now they walk up to us, and the thing is, when you're in the old city, in these sorts of medieval cities, there's lots of little bars and stuff around. It's a tourist trap. So people come up to you and they say, "Hey, do you want to come to this bar?" And they give you these business cards. And one of the tricks that they do is they dance with you, right? They grab your arm and they dance with you to get close, so they can swipe your wallet. Now the other guy did that to Jonne, but then the dwarfs come up to me, and I've just gone, "Get the fuck away from me," right? Because all I could think of was a wrestler called Hornswoggle. There's a dwarf wrestler called Hornswoggle, and his signature move is a thing called the tadpole splash, where he gets on the top rope and he charges the guy with his massive ball sack, because it's a medical fact that dwarves have big ball sacks, okay? It's amazing what you can tell people is a medical fact just by saying it's a medical fact. Now, little sidebar, I had an argument with my old housemate who claimed that people with Down syndrome had extraordinary strength, like NRL players. And so I rang a doctor friend of mine and I said, "Do people with Down syndrome have extraordinary strength? Is that a medical fact?" And she goes, "Do you know what is a medical fact? You're a fucking idiot." So anyway, all I could think about was Hornswoggle and the tadpole splash, right? And I'm like, "Mate, I'm not gonna dance with you. I'm not. Look. You know, what are we gonna? It'd be a choreographical nightmare, right? Look, what are we gonna do? Where am I gonna put my hands? Like on your ears? Like what do you? Like how's this gonna?" I was like, "Mate, I'm sorry." So I explained all of that to him, and I just kept walking up the road, right? And then Yoni turned up next to me, and I remembered the thing that I'd heard about the dancing, and I was like, "Check your wallet." He had lost his wallet. So we go searching for these guys back up the road. Yoni starts bashing the other guy. We found them somewhere. He starts bashing the guy to get his wallet back. And Hornswoggle's got his wallet. And so, you know, Yoni's bashing one Spanish guy. Little Spanish dwarf's holding up his wallet to me. And I'm like, "I've got your wallet, I've got your wallet." And then Spanish dwarf gives it to me. He goes off to a little council truck that's sort of next to us and gets like a weapon out of there. And he like runs at my mate with like this little Spanish war cry. He's going, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." And all I could do, "Tadpole splash!" Sounded like some fucked up public orgy. Like it was weird, right? And he smacked him on the back with the squeegee, and he kind of reeled back, and then they kind of walked off up the road, and they turn around, and then the dwarf just like waves to me. You just fucking mugged us. What are you waving to us for? Anyway, I waved back. I don't want to be rude, you know. But if you ever see a Spanish dwarf in Barcelona, just tell him to fuck off, right? From me. Now, I used to work in childcare many years ago. Why is there creepy low laughs at that? You? Yeah. You. They let you do that? Yes, they did. I faked my paperwork. No. So I worked in a holiday care program, right? And we went to Civic Pool. Now there's a known kind of fact about childcare in that you have to have one adult to every 10 children, right? That's a rule within legislation. 10 kids, you have to have at least one adult, right? So I'm in the little tiny kids pool, it's about this much water, and I've got these 10 kids about, and the fact is, one thing you wouldn't know is that it takes 10 kids to drown an adult man. Yeah, I found that out too, because I'm in the little kids pool, and they're kind of playing with me, and they're kind of, "Yeah, this is fun." And the thing is, like, I got in and played with the kids. I was right in, like, and they loved having a male worker, right? And the other staff, they just kept saying, "Greg, the kids just love you, mate. They love playing with you. They really get a lot out of it. They really do love you, mate. They love you. It's great." I was like, "Good. Doesn't mean you don't have to do your job, okay?" Like, that's all I'm saying. Now, I'm in the pool, the kids are starting to play with me. Before I know it, like, there's a couple of them on me, and I'm on my belly in knee-deep water, right? With 2 kids on one leg, 2 kids on the other, 2 on each arm, right? One big fat fucker on my back, and then one kid just stamping on the back of my head on the bottom of the pool, right? Now, a good 80 or 90 seconds went past, and as I started to kind of fade to black, I thought, well, at least they'll remember me as an addition to the Darwin Awards, you know. And all I could think to do, my last reserves of strength, I kind of just balled myself into a ball and just burst out of the water and just threw them everywhere, right? And the kids go flying, ah! You know, land in the water, ah, that was great. And the other teachers just go, Greg, they love you, mate. It's so nice. All right, guys, that's been it. Thank you for coming. I just would like to say thanks very much to Erica and Stu and Sarah CC. The boys on the cameras have done a great job. I do want to tell everyone, I hope you've had a great time. Everyone who's come tonight, if you do want a copy of this recording, please let us know and I'll send you one. I'm going to release a few of the clips. I hope you've had a great time. Thanks a lot for coming. See you soon. Good night.